Well, as the weather gets drier, watering becomes part of normal garden routine. And not wasting water is one of those principles that I like to promote. I have a kind of a bucket here which I collect the dishwater from, and that really is going to benefit the apple tree, to be honest, because around the fruit trees any old dishwater is good. And if you just want to come out, I'll show you. Where we have trees, apple trees say here, or the pear trees, or even the blackcurrant bushes and the raspberries, a good dollop of water now and again is good, so that the dishwater does the trick. And finish off with the raspberries. Well, this bench that I built here was basically for sitting on, but not only for sitting on, it's also to disguise an irrigation system, which is very basic, because I don't want to be using running water and wasting a lot of water on the garden. So behind this bench is a few watering cans here. Watering cans, they're filled up either from the barrel or indeed from that short hose connected to the tap. But what it really allows me to do is actually provide feed for the plants, and the feed is actually comfrey tea, and we'll go out to the front garden and take a look at that, and that helps the watering, not just to be watering but also to be feeding the plants. Well, this bed here in the front garden is where I've planted comfrey. Bocking 14 is the variety, and it is used specifically for making plant feed. It's very fast growing. It has very deep roots. I've put pigeon manure along here, and it's also very tolerant of strong manure, which most plants aren't tolerant of. So it thrives on very rich animal and plant compost itself. So what I do is, because it keeps growing so fast, I have to keep cutting it back. Otherwise my poor sunflowers get swamped here, even though they're beginning to grow above it now. So when I cut it back, I'm going to put it in the water, but except it's not just for water, it is to make a comfrey tea, and that tea then I add and dilute in my watering cans. So this is the kind of thing that I'll be doing. Obviously it's not at its full height here, but just to get the idea, it means taking the leaves just as they are and opening up the water butt here. Bit of a pong off this now, I might add, but once it's not disturbed too much, you wouldn't know. Weigh it down so the wind doesn't take the lid off, and down below here the tap is what I use then to fill a washed out milk carton, and the tea is quite frothy because it's got a lot of nutrients in it. So that then can be diluted with the watering can water, and becomes a feed in the garden. Well, I filled the cans with water from the barrel, or if the barrel's not full, I haven't had much rain, then I can fill it from a short hose from the kitchen tap. And I've left enough room then just to put essentially a splash of a dollop of the feed in each one. And that just gives me a dilute plant feed, which particularly the cabbage, the brassicas need, but in fact the potatoes, the beans, the peas, the onions, they all need, to be kept moist. But obviously overwatering is as much of a problem as underwatering, so there is a balance to be struck, but you'll know when the soil gets too dry. Now, not all of us have choice in these matters. We have busy lives, but early in the morning is probably the best for watering. If you do it in the evening, particularly if you have a slug problem, you're giving little runways to the slugs because they like a bit of moisture in the soil. So early in the morning means the sun will come up, it'll dry the surface of the soil, but hopefully the water will have soaked in at that stage and will be doing the plant roots some good, and then the sun can help them to grow because they'll have moisture at their roots. Well, the water butt here, which collects rainwater from the roof, I have one on the front garden as well, is very important for the likes of watering in general, but particularly for the likes of the hanging baskets and that type of thing, because it allows me to just get a small amount of water without worrying about taps or anything, hoses or anything else, and just dip the watering can in and water the nasturtiums and the other plants. These are just for flowers and for insects, but the nasturtium leaves are also actually quite edible.